Okay, y'all. Y'all can see what we are up against today. We are making this boozing, buttery sweetheart of a pound cake today. So y'all, let's not wait no more. Let's get over on the counter and see how to put this surprise heart cake together. All right? All right. I'll meet you all over there on that counter. Okay, lovers, let's go ahead and get this easy recipe put together. In this bowl, I have this box of pound cake mix already. Now, what I want to invite you all to do is follow the directions on your particular pound cake mix, because there are about 3 or 4 different brands that I've tried, and I'll tell you, on the back of each one of them, the directions are different. So this is the one that I'm using today, and it invites me to only use 2 eggs and some milk, where there are others that tell you to put butter and all these things in it. But this particular brand already has tallow in it and vegetable oil and whatnot. So just make sure of whatever pound cake mix you use that you're kind of following directions there. And then I'm going to talk you through this particular recipe. So here is my box of cake mix in here. And I'm going to go ahead and add my 2 eggs. 1 and 2. Okay, and then it tells me to add milk, and I think it wants 3/4 cups of milk, but in this particular case I'm going to use a 1/2 cup milk, and you know it's going to be some booze. I don't care what the box says. Okay, so in this particular recipe I am using a little buttershots, so I used a 1/2 cup of milk in there, and that's skim milk that I'm using, because that's what this recipe calls for. And I'm going to use make that 1/3 cup of my buttershots. Okay, so we got the 2/3 cups of skim milk and 1/3 cups of buttershot, and we're doing that because we do need the moisture in there. And I'm going to get this stirred, start stirring it rather, with my spoon, and then move to my mixer. We got it pretty mixed up in there, so now I'm going to add some red coloring to this for my first pound cake. I'm using gel red food coloring, but if you have just just regular food color and you're using the color red, then you're going to have to use more of that than you do the gel. But since I had gel, that's what I'm going to use, and I'm just going to eyeball it here, because the gel is a little bit more intense than the other coloring would be. So that's why I'm eyeballing it till I get to a kind of red that I want. That's a pretty red right there. Look at that. Hey. Okay. And I'm gonna say that was about a teaspoon, and I would usually use my measuring spoon, but this actual teaspoon right here is better, because I can kind of dip it in there and get it moving around, and put just a little bit more, and then I think that's it for that. So we kind of got this where we want it, and that's great. Okay, now I'm gonna put this away. Now I just want to say this right quick, in case somebody was wondering, how did I decide which amount of buttershots to use? When you're following your recipe on the back of your box, whatever amount of liquids it tells you to use, remove part of that liquid, and whatever amount you remove, replace it with your alcohol. And I chose buttershots because I want that buttery taste, but boozy taste, to go out throughout this cake. Okay, so let's move on to what we're doing next. We got the red in there like we wanted, and so now I'm using my 9x5 loaf pan to get this going. And I already got my oven set at 350 degrees, and so now I'm just going to spray this pan down with some Baker's Joy so it'll easily release. And there we go. Okay, so now we're going to get ready to put our cake in there. And now it goes into the 350-degree oven for about an hour and 15 minutes, or until the top is golden, okay? Okay, so here we are, about an hour, and it took about an hour and 5 minutes for this to finish. So we're gonna let it sit here, and I'm gonna let it cool for about 30 minutes. And then when I empty it out of this pan, I'm gonna put it into the refrigerator and let it cool an additional 30 minutes, because I want this to really set up before we're ready to handle it for the next step, okay? Okay, so our cake has cooled for about an hour or so. We can now handle it in the cutting process. So let's get this part started. Now let's talk about our cutters. These are our cookie cutters here, and I thought I was going to be able to use this heart to cut out my cake imprints, but this one was too large. This heart is 4 inches going across, and that was just way too large. So I had to search till I found this smaller one here. This is one that came out of a little kid's Play-Doh kit or something like that, but I was able to find it, and I thank goodness for that. So what you want to do, whatever the size heart that you have, you want to measure it in your 9x5 loaf pan. See, if I use this right here, you see how large this heart would be in this pan, and it would just kind of rise above the level that the loaf cake would be. So look at that, way too big, right? But look at this one. Look at the little one right here, right? This one right here is the perfect size to basically be able to go through the length of my loaf cake. Okay, so we got this ready. Now what we're gonna do is use this heart to measure the slices that we're gonna slice from this red loaf cake here. So I'm using my serrated knife, and I want to use this as my measuring piece, because this cutter needs to be able to go through the slices that we're cutting. And do not cut off this end, because you might say, that's the browned end of a loaf. I don't eat that end, but you're gonna need it for the length of this cake. So here we go. Start here, putting it there, and then I'm cutting right behind it, just to use as my measuring. All right, so there's our first one. Measure here for the second loaf, and I'm going to continue this process throughout this cake. Well, I love those ends because they're so crunchy. All right, so we just go on down. So I finished cutting it all the way down, as you can see. Now, if you see any little crunchy corners missing, that's because my instincts told me, girl, you better eat those. So as I pull each piece out, I'm gonna take my cutter, I'm gonna put it right there in the center, press down, and look, y'all, bang! A beautiful heart. Look at that, dang. So I'm gonna put them in order on my little cookie sheet there until I get them all down here, because I wanna place them inside the cake in the same order as I cut them out. And don't worry, these will not go to waste. I think my mind telling me I'm gonna do a little cake pops with those. So go on to the next one. Right in center, press, shake, 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 and boom. Look at that, y'all. Beautiful, isn't it? Making me fall in love already. So I'm just gonna continue this on until I get to the very end. And last one. And look, y'all. See? Like a perfect little heart in the center. Isn't that just cute? Okay, so now we're now ready to go ahead and bake our second pound cake, because we need these to line up in the center of it, okay? Okay, we're getting together the second part of this sweetheart cake. Okay, now I'm again using a box of pound cake mix here, and I'm going by the directions on the box for this brand. As I said before, Betty Crocker, Duncan Hine, and some other of those companies have their own brand of pound cake, and on the back all of the directions are different, and this one calls for 2 eggs and it calls for 3/4 cup of liquid. Well, it says milk, but you know what part of my liquid is gonna be that booze. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this part together. Into this dry mixture, I'm going to go ahead and put my 2 eggs, right? 2 eggs. Move that around just a little bit. And then I'm gonna put a 1/2 cup, and this is skim milk, because that's what the directions call for. And then the other part of my liquid is going to be the booze. Just as I put buttershots into the hard portion of this cake, is going to be the buttershots into the rest of the cake. And I want to keep that buttery taste throughout, because I tell you that first batter came out so wonderful with that buttery taste in there. Buttery booze. All right, so let me get this started in the mix-up process, and then I'm gonna put the beaters in there. Now, y'all, I could leave it white like this and have a red and white cake, but I want a little blush in here, a little blush of pink blush. So here I'm using food coloring, not the gel. And I'm just gonna put a couple of drops in there just to take that bright whiteness off. Let me see what color we get. I'm gonna go in and add a couple of more drops. That's the little blush that I want. I'm gonna use a little Baker's Joy and go ahead and spray my pan again and get ready. So what I want to do first is I'm gonna put a little bit of this batter in the bottom of my pan. And that's all I want to do, just to go over the bottom of the pan. Now I'm going to bring forth my hearts, and what I'm going to do is just put them in the pan, lining them up this way. That's the end, you know. And I'm going to just line them right up in the center of my pan. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. Just right down the center is what I'm doing. Trying to keep straight. It's not too difficult at all. And now I'll start with my batter on both sides. Right on across the top. Okay, y'all, and there we have it. I'm just gonna tap it out gently, because I don't want to move anything around too much. And we're going to take this and go ahead and put it into that 350 350 degree oven for about another hour, 5 to 15 minutes, and then we'll see. Our second cake is out and everything is complete. We're gonna let it cool here before we put a little glaze on it and cut into it. So let it cool for about 30 minutes. Okay, so we're just gonna run a little bit of this glaze that I created to just go across the top here, like so. It's gonna add to the beauty of it. All right, we've done that. And then I salvaged a few crumbs from the part that where we cut the hearts out. And we're just gonna put just a few of those across the top. And y'all, we're gonna let the glaze sit up just a little bit, and then we'll be ready to cut into it and see our little heart surprise, okay? Okay, y'all, I'm very happy to report that we got it done. And I want to say a very, very happy Lover's Day, Valentine's Day to all of you and to me too. Okay, y'all, just isn't this one of the cutest things that you've ever seen? And it's not that difficult to get it done. So I invite you all to try this wonderful little hidden heart inside your cake for your sweetheart, or just be sweet to yourself. Well, y'all, I'm gonna go on and get on out y'all hair. Oh, and also, I wanna tell you all, with those extra crumbs, remember I mentioned that you can make some cake balls, cake pops, whatever you call them. So you see, look at there. I got those done too. Okay, and they're very easy to make. Put your little milk and a little confection of sugar and ball them up, let them sit in the refrigerator for a minute and set, and you got yourself some balls. But right now, cake balls, I mean. And I'm gonna go on and get on out of y'all hair. But before I do that, y'all know I'm gonna be greedy and take a little piece of this cake. It's almost too cute to eat, isn't it? But I'm gonna eat it, okay? So y'all, and I like those crunchy corners there. Y'all, those buttershots, that butterscotch going right on through, and it's so good. One more bite, because you know I'm greedy.